Here we go. All right, welcome into Before Floor here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I always do that. We are sponsored, as always, by our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing, the official beer of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, also of the Miami Marlins. There it is. There you can see it. You can also find their kiosks at Heat games, although you won't find it tonight because they're not home. But you can find it in your local Publix at many, many local restaurants and bars around the area, so make sure you ask. I actually found out today, because like half of our network lives in Orlando, which I just found out because I'm trying to have a watch party, down here in Pompano Beach. Everybody's like, I'm going to be in Orlando. And I found out today that you can get Biscayne Bay Brewing in Orlando. You can get Biscayne Bay Brew in Orlando. So if you're in Orlando, you can get that there too, and it'll make you feel better about your sorry-ass team. But Biscayne Bay Brewing is where you want to go for all the beer. Yes, not Brady, everybody else but Brady, although Brady can still come to the watch party. By the way, before I continue, we are having a watch party. It is Tuesday night at Dallas, Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, different brewing company, but not a competitor. There's lots of beer out there in the world. Dangerous Minds, and you will get pizza, hats, and all the rest of this good stuff on Tuesday night. Also sponsored by a friend over at Mark Brown. That's the hat Greg is pointing to at markbrownpa.com. Can help you plan your estate. Okay, man, you can say, like, I don't have an estate. I don't have that much money. You got something, right? You want to know where it goes, right? Or you got a child. You want to make sure the child gets your money. Talk to Mark Brown. Also, if you're doing a real estate closing, he's the person to go to. I always say this, but the last property that I had to sell, total incompetence on the other side. I don't know how Mark and his team handled it, frankly, because I was losing my mind. But he managed to pull it off and did a great job for me. So go to markbrownpa.com. That's M-A-R-C, brownpa.com. Mark also a big Miami sports fan, so you certainly talked to him about that. All right, let's get to it. The Miami Heat are 4-1. They're playing hellacious defense. Like they're setting records. They're turning it back to like the 1960s here with the defense that they're playing. They're 4-0 with Kyle Lowry in the lineup, even though he has not hit a single shot that I can actually remember. And they're doing that even with Duncan Robinson shooting like he's Gerald Green right now. Okay, so tonight they're playing Memphis. John Morant has been one of the best players in the league here early in the season. They're deep. They're talented. I think they're underrated. They've got the kind of team that typically gives the Heat problems. Except nobody's really given the Heat problems when they've had their full core tonight. So, Greg, let's get to it. You did not love this matchup, neither did I, before yesterday, but have you changed your view now?
A little bit. I as I dug into the matchup via Heat game notes, people are getting tired of seeing those tweets coming from me, but they're not going to stop. The more I dug into it.
Wait, can I say one thing on that? The tweets are great, but there are a couple in there that are like, I mean, what their record is on Saturdays. I mean, come on. Like, I was going to call you
inquiring minds want to know. What can I say? I would want to know, and I'm a Heat fan, so I figure other Heat fans want to know.
So what? Let's just
Memphis sucks on defense. Like, I think of Memphis as being a great defensive team. Not great, but like that's their identity, right? Is like that grit, grind whole situation, and that's not what they've been so far. First home game back from a 4-game road trip. So I feel like there's you can sneak in here and grab one from them. So whereas I felt like this was a scheduled loss, I'm coming back off of that. I think Miami gets this one. And I know I'm getting to my prediction early, but Ja's amazing. There's no doubt about it. 30 points a game so far. But other than that, they can't stop the Heat. And I just think that they'll play a good enough defense. So I switched my pick.
By the way, it just came up. I think it said Bam's inactive tonight. So he said he was going to warm up with the
never
intent
mind.
to play. But it said he's inactive.
All right. That may change the line because I think the Heat were a 2-point favorite on the road, I believe. If you want to bet that, go to betus.com. Use the code 5.
Forget everything I just said. That segment is trash completely.
All right, well, let's address that now. By the way, I should have introduced the panel, though by now I think most of you know us. Greg under me, and then Brady, and then Ricky. No Jonathan tonight. Alejandro is producing. But Brady, all right, so let's get into that. Who do we think starts?
I mean, I would not be surprised. I said this yesterday, if Bam didn't play, and I would not be surprised if we see Omer Yurtseven start. Like, it just seems like the thing Spo has gone to so many times. And I think their starting lineup is their front court's Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams. So it's a little bit more of a lengthy group that yesterday it may not have made too much sense because Charlotte's, so undersized in the front court. It makes a ton of sense against this team. You already have PJ Tucker out there who's going to be guarding so many of, their wings, even though a couple of them could be out for Memphis as well. It just makes sense. I don't think you throw Dwayne Dedmon into a starting lineup. That does not seem like something they'd really go to. And I don't think you'd go with Markieff Morris, throwing him at the 5 against this team. So it seems like something they would do. I'm not against it. I felt like they would eventually give Yurtseven a good amount of starts this season, just because I don't see Dedmon playing 82. And then obviously if Bam or PJ gets banged up a little bit, I think they could throw him in there. So would be a great game to kind of see him kind of in interior, kind of see how he works from there, and then they can kind of make evaluations as they go. It doesn't mean just because he starts, he has to get a bunch of minutes. It's just He's starting the game kind of like a Myers Leonard role, where you kind of see him 6 minutes to start the game and then 6 minutes in the second half.
Is that what you would do, Ricky?
Yes, actually. I think Spo, like Brady just mentioned, Spo likes keeping players in a certain rhythm. Even when Dwayne was missing all those games back in 2014, you'd still see Ray come off the bench because that was his role at the time. I think Yurtseven might end up very much like the AC Green role back on that 2000 Lakers championship team, where he would ceremonially start, but you wouldn't see him again for the rest of the game for whatever reason. That said, I think this is a great opportunity for him to get some real minutes against some, upper echelon NBA talent. And I think it'll serve as a great tryout for him because, isn't it Miami that always says next man up?
Yep.
This is Omer's opportunity to prove himself a little bit early. I don't think we should expect any world breaking from him just yet, but if he can basically not do what oh man, I forgot the center that we drafted Dexter Pittman against the Pacers. As long as he doesn't do that in game, like he did in Game 3, then Miami will be fine and he will be fine. But we'll have to see what happens.
I think Dedmon gets the start. I think that we're overthinking this one. I think that they're going to throw Steven Adams. You're going to give Omer Yurtseven. He's going to have to deal with Steven Adams' first start. Ugh.
Might as well.
That's interesting because I was going to say if Dedmon didn't start, I'm curious how they would play this because I think you could see most of Markieff Tucker minutes together for the first time.
Agreed.
Which I don't think we've seen, or I don't know how viable it is. See, this team has some size though. I don't know if you could go small with Jimmy at the 4 a whole bunch. There's no Valanciunas, which is good. Steven Adams may worry you, but Valanciunas worried me more from a rebounding standpoint. But the Heat have been so good from a rebounding perspective. Now we're going to see how much Bam has to do with that, right? Because, he's been a big part of it, but not all of it. It's been a lot the guards, Herro in particular, also Jimmy, who've kind of picked up some of the slack, particularly on the backboards, and then they've gotten some offensive rebounding as well. But this does play to something else, though. I see a Duncan Robinson game tonight, and I know you talk about them not being very good defensively. They're particularly bad guarding the 3-point line. I just feel like, especially with what Spo said yesterday, and Jimmy trying to needle Duncan a little bit, which I think was pointed, not the way it came out from Jimmy, but just trying to get Duncan loose at this point. I think Duncan's going to take 12 threes tonight. I think he's probably going to make 5 of them. And I think he's going to get – in fact, Prize Picks, if you use that again, the code 5, if you go to Prize Picks, I went over on him on 12.5 points tonight. I think he goes over 12.5. I know Heat fans are freaking out about him. And the latest thing on Twitter today was this idea that Herro should be starting again. And I just don't think people understand lineups and how they work, okay? That you don't have to start your 5 most best offensive players or 5 best players at the beginning. You need lineups and rotations that work together. Herro coming off the bench has certainly worked. I'm gonna create a tie situation here. I think he starts Dedmon. I know that's against type, and I understand what Brady and Ricky are saying, but I think he starts Dedmon, and I think part of it is a reward. I think the way that Dwayne has played in limited minutes, I think he may be willing to stretch him out a little bit and give him kind of this carrot, and then essentially maybe Omer gets some minutes off the bench. The other guy I think could get minutes tonight is Gabe. I think that they may go a little bit deeper. I know you look at it, Ricky, but I don't think it's so much to set up the offense. I think it's a second night of a back-to-back for Lowry.
Good point.
And you're facing Morant. And the one thing we do know that Gabe is effective in doing is sort of hassling other point guards. So you're okay with that for a few minutes. I would not be surprised if maybe Gabe gets a first-half stint and maybe not a second-half stint, which they've seen him do before. I could see that expanding a little bit. But let's go forward here some. On Memphis, who worries you other than Morant? Ricky.
This could, I know we've talked about how this could potentially be a Duncan Robinson game. This could become a triple J, excuse me, a triple J game too. Jaren Jackson Jr. He's the type of player I found that could disappear for a while, but if he really sets his mind to it, at 6'11" with the skills that he has, he could be a serious problem for this Heat team, especially without Bam. I mean, I was concerned about all that length up front with Bam on the floor, and now that he's not, this could be an opportunity for him to feast. He might eat tonight.
Dylan Brooks, worry anybody?
He's not playing.
He's not. He's out.
But I'm going to go DeAnthony Melton because Nekias Duncan likes DeAnthony Melton, and he's talked him up on Twitter a lot. So that's the name. I've seen that he's gone 3 of 5, 4 of 8, and 4 of 6 from 3.
Alex likes him too quite a
bit. So that's the guy that I'm watching for tonight, obviously. Ja Morant, you can't say that. So that's the guy, DeAnthony Melton for me.
Brady, anybody else?
I do. I know you said no John Morant, but I do want to make one point about John Morant. I think if you do see a Yurtseven start, I feel like there's no question that John Morant's going to put up scoring numbers.
Yes,
like
that's right.
He's getting dunked on.
I want to see how. I kind of just want to see Yurtseven start just to see how this defense is intact without Bam. The way they kind of utilize PJ and Jimmy in that way, because Ja is going to attack him all night and drop if they play him out the gate. Like, I just kind of want to see how to throw him in the fire a bit. And I feel like that's another thing Spo likes to do. There's like the matchup thing where you throw the guy on the best player and see how he reacts. Throw him in there at the starting center and make John Morant attack him all night. Like, that's kind of where I see it. And you did mention back-to-back for Kyle Lowry. It's also a back-to-back for Dedmon. So, like, would you want to throw Dedmon out there in the second night of a back-to-back, increase his minutes? I'm not sure about that either. But I do think from Memphis' side.
But he didn't play a ton last night. That's the thing. I feel like he's gotten himself into the kind of condition in the offseason that he could handle it.
He's an old 31 too. Right? Like, he's only 31, but he feels like he's older than that.
No, he just looks older than that. That doesn't affect how he runs up and down the floor. I mean, come on. That doesn't have anything to do with it. I think there may be a reward for him tonight. I don't know. I feel like But I'm going to poll it afterwards. Who would you go with? I understand, again, the Spoelstra philosophy is keep things intact, and he's going to do that with Herro all year. Let's pivot, though, real quick here before we go to Kyle Lowry. I mean, he hasn't had a double-digit scoring game yet. I know that, Herro said last night that he can get 20 when he wants to get 20. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, I think it's going to happen over the course of the season, but I think right now, honestly, I don't think he has a feel quite yet for where to get his shots with this group. Like, it's not that he forgot how to shoot. Okay, he's going to shoot well over the course of the season, right? But Ricky, do you see that? Like, it feels like it's sort of easier for him to set up other guys at this stage than it is for him to kind of, okay, this is the spot on the floor I can get my looks.
Yeah, I remember having some conversations with some of the guys from not just within our network, but just Heat fans in general when this team acquired Kyle Lowry. I told people, don't expect the same exact numbers that you got the previous 3 seasons. He's another year older. That's one thing. Another thing is, as a veteran, don't expect him to be at an all-star level statistically as the season starts. This isn't his first rodeo. I think Kyle Lowry, given the personnel around him, he will be ready for the playoffs if he's healthy, God willing. He'll be there for then. Right now, just as you mentioned, Ethan, he's working his way into the offense, making sure everybody else is eating, so to speak, and also choosing his spots. I'm actually quite pleased with the way Lowry's played thus far this season. I mean, Miami's undefeated with him on the floor. He's going to find his way. And when that time comes, look out, because I think it might have been a combination of Brady, Royal, and I think Greg might have mentioned something last night during the game where Miami was doing what they were doing to Charlotte with Duncan and Kyle struggling from the field. And when those two get hot, it's over for the league. It's over for the league. Now, I think I was just paraphrasing a little bit there, but look, let him work his way in. Right. He'll be just fine.
Well, that's true. And again, I think that there is a feeling, again, water rises to its level, Eric, to quote the great Tony Fiorentino, and or water finds its level. And I do think that both of them will, again, the numbers will come up. But we did say this about Tyler Herro last year, too. I know he doesn't have the track record those two as a shooter, and the level never came up. Right?
Different circumstances.
I understand. It's come up now, okay? And Tyler is now putting up ridiculous numbers that I think our guy Simon Smith, who always has these stats ready for you whenever I post something about when I just post a stat line. I posted Herro's stat line today in his splits, and the only two players in history who have ever produced the numbers that Tyler Herro has produced, and they didn't do it off the bench, through the first 5 games of the season are Larry Bird and Steph Curry, okay? Just to give you
Who
a
are those
sense.
scrubs?
Right, exactly, okay? So Tyler's been pretty damn good. But last year, the number never reached. Yeah, let's aggregate that, okay? Aggregate that. That Ethan Skolnick said that Tyler Herro, who's Larry Bird and Steph Curry compared to Tyler Herro? It's going to raise his trade value. But anyway,
Ricky looks on in horror.
Exactly. But the point is, and we'll get to some of the questions that came in. By the way, if you want us to read a question, for sure, throw us some money. You can do the super chat thing, and we'll definitely take care of you. But I do think that with Duncan and Kyle doesn't have a track record. I think with Duncan at this point, it's a little psychological. It's a little bit, okay? It may be a little bit the contract, but I agree with Alex. I was sitting with Alex at the game last night. It's also where he's getting the ball now. It's different, okay? And I guess one of the questions I have with Duncan is, it seems to me like he cannot shoot when he's wide open right now. Like, with a hand in the face, the shot looks better. When he's wide open, it's off the side of the backboard right now. So that leads me to believe that he's almost not expecting to be open, and it's in his head. And I remember when Mike Bibby came to the Heat, I know no one wants to remember that, okay? But when Mike Bibby came to the Heat, the first thing he said that first week, okay, was, I'm getting too many open shots. I don't like open shots, which proved true when he shot 21% from 3 in the postseason, and they probably would have won the championship in spite of LeBron's performance if Spoelstra just played Chalmers over Bibby. I still hold to that theory, okay? But with Duncan, it does seem, Greg, it seems psychological, right? A lot of it?
Yeah. And you know what? Like, truthfully, it even seems that way because I think you brought up something super relevant with Kyle and how he's finding his way. A lot of his shots seem like he shoots them when he realizes, because he's so intuitive with the way he plays, that like it is the best shot in that moment of the offense. So he like will pull up for a quick, pull up J or something like that. And it's not what he was looking to get to first, because to your point, I think he's trying to like find his rhythm. So that's interesting that I think for both of them, it has a lot more to do with their kind of it's mental stuff, but in different elements. One is like obviously too open or stuff like that. For Kyle, he's kind of just learning his way. So that they're going to find their rhythm. Like, come on, guys. Like I think people are completely overreacting. Like if Duncan was hitting 45% from 3, but was a turnstile on defense and was averaging 2 rebounds a game, like I'd be way more concerned than with this, turnaround.
Brady, I know you've explored Duncan's overall game a lot, but just the shooting, what do you see?
Yeah, I think for one, the numbers actually haven't been terrible with him shooting open threes. Like as much as I feel like we think that he's missing them, which he definitely is having open threes. But I think he's like 38, 39% on open threes, which isn't great for an open three, but I don't think it's as bad as we think. It's actually the contested ones that he used to make that I think that he's not. I think one thing is that this team is dead last in the league in spot up shooting. You don't expect that on a team with Duncan Robinson on it when he's one of the league's premier shooters. I think he's not getting enough of the spot up role where he's forcing defenses are kind of forcing him to put the ball on the floor once or twice, where I think that's a bit of an adjustment. I still think there's room for him to shoot, and he's going to start making them. He should have probably started making these already, but I think it's an adjustment period where you're going to wait 6 or 7 games and he's going to get into a flow. It's not as much dribble handoffs as we know. It's a little bit more mixture. And it's the same thing with Kyle. I don't think we've seen, in Toronto, we talked about his ability to come off handoffs. We haven't seen that ton of Lowry handoffs. It feels like every time he comes off a handoff, it's a lob for Bam. His threes are coming off the transition pull-up, which he's done a lot in the past as well. But once they kind of find their spots and are kind of comfortable in it, as you mentioned before, I think they're going to be fine. And if your team I've said this before, but the team's biggest issue is Duncan Robinson making threes, you're sitting pretty nicely to begin the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so let's get to the picks here. And again, I think he breaks out tonight. I would go over with him on prize picks on 5. I also think without Bam in there will be a little bit more of an emphasis on perimeter shooting. I got a friend of mine, though, who's like a 90s Heat fan, like fan from the 90s Heat. He's like, did Spoelstra have any say on this team? Because it just seems like such a Riley team. They're bottom 5 in the league in 3-point attempts. Pat hates the 3. and they're bludgeoning people on the boards and defensively. It's just
sure that wasn't me that you were text messaging
No,
with?
it's not just you, but it's just, I mean, random people and Heat fans are like, did Pat consult with anybody else before he actually built this team? It just feels like, but it's working, so everybody's good with it. All right, we got to do this quick because we got to get out of here and we got to get this thing up. 10 seconds are left. Les, who wins tonight? Brady.
Yeah, I think the Heat win. If you look in the trends of this season, Milwaukee and Charlotte are 1 and 2 in transition offense. Memphis is number 5. Both of those games, they slowed them down a ton. So I think if they slow Memphis down in that same way, the Heat are going to probably be sitting nicely. But obviously without Bam, it's a little bit different. But I think overall, Kyle Lowry has a big game scoring wise, and they control pace.
I think that the Grizzlies win a close game tonight. I think the Heat keep it close. The Grizzlies pull away a little bit late. The Bam thing tilts it for me somewhat. I was going the other direction. If I was going to take the Heat +2, I don't feel good about it right now. I don't.
3.5 now.
Okay, see, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but for the Grizzlies, so yeah,
right.
Heat +3.5 you would get.
So we know how much Bam is worth, I guess. What at least to Vegas. Greg, what do you think?
Well, the Grizzlies have beat Miami 3 times in a row. But before that, Miami had won 5 straight against Memphis. Memphis has never, since 95-96, since this franchise came into the NBA, they've never beat the Heat 4 times in a row, so they're not going to start now. Heat win.
Ricky?
Yeah, I think the Heat win. And if I could take it back briefly to something you said earlier, I think the Heat win that 2011 series if LeBron hits that 3 with about a minute left and pushes Miami to 93-88. I think they go up 2-0. Come back to Miami up 3-2 as opposed to down 3-2, and history changes completely. But
I can't argue with the encyclopedia on this stuff, and this is why we're finally going to launch. If can we get your imaging done, we're going to get the 5R rewind thing going. But what I would say is I don't necessarily agree because Bibby was so bad, and if they just got 3 games out of Rio like they did in Game 6 before that series turned. I think if you ask Eric and you give him truth serum, he'll say, I made a mistake. I went with the veteran guy. I should have gone with the kid who I couldn't trust, but he was a big game player at that stage. Mike Bibby was not. We'll do this on another show. This is 5R Rewind. Who do you like tonight?
Miami. I think they still win.
Okay, there you go. Boom. All right. Ricky and we're going to save this because I have lots of takes on the 2011 finals. And someday
I want all the smoke, Ethan. I want it.
Well, someday we're going to get Spoelstra on the pod to answer. We're 10 years out. We should talk about that finals actually.
It still hurts.
It's well, yeah.
I still can't watch Game 7.
You know when I knew they lost? When I was at a Whataburger in Dallas at 2:45 in the morning, drunk off my ass, and I checked Twitter and LeBron had tweeted now or never, and I turned to I think I was with Joe Goodman or Chandel, and I said, "Oh, they're effed." They're effed. Like if he's up at 3 in the morning Dallas time, like trying to make a point on
not
Twitter
a good sign
to the world, I'm like, okay, he's so in his head right now. There's no chance. But the burger was delicious. Anyway,
yeah, it was Mahimi beating the buzzer at the end of the third quarter in Game 6.
We do not need to talk about Jan Mahimi tonight. All right, Biscayne Bay Brewing, MarkBrownPA.com, PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5. Play Duncan tonight. I'm feeling good about it. Okay. Have a good night. We'll be back later.
So that was our pregame show for today. Let's go ahead and listen to some of the press conferences after last night's game, that very good win against the Charlotte Hornets. Let's start right away. Thank you for all your comments. And here we go. Give me a second and we will get going here as we get this together. All right, here we go.
Eric, the Hornets this has been their MO all year. Get down and then keep coming back. Did you expect? I mean, I know you've said before 20-point leads in this league are nothing now. But
yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing. That is a quality of that team. We've already seen it, this year. Saw it a bunch with them, last year. But that's also really the trend of the league. The 20-point leads in the first half, those can disappear pretty quickly within a matter of 3/4 of a quarter, and you just have to continue to work the game and not feel that you're entitled, to a win. And I thought that was a really good close, for us. Third quarter, they played great. Sped us up a little bit. Thought we had some good shots too, that kind of contributes to it. We missed some at key times and turned us over a couple times, and we were able to get some easy ones. They were able to get back into it. But I thought the fourth quarter was very good. A lot of good things on both ends.
Speaking of that fourth quarter, for all the running you guys have done and pace and all things like that Jimmy still has, especially amidst more in the third quarter, that half-court game to steady you guys.
Yeah.
And Bam still has that forceful game, as he showed in the fourth quarter, that you can do it more than one way, maybe the hard way at times.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that's the hard way. I mean, that's what happens in fourth quarters. The game usually slows down. I think one of, the plays that kind of broke it open was when we pitched it ahead, a couple times, or two plays where we pitched ahead, we were able to get easy ones, but you can't really rely on those in the fourth quarter. So you need, a guy like Jimmy. Jimmy's a closer in this league, and he's played closing basketball for our franchise for a couple of years, where our pace has been a little bit different. So went right back into that comfort zone there. And then as far as Bam, yeah, he was just a beast in the paint, making his presence felt. He was a force in nature, getting to the rim in a lot of different ways, either offensive rebounding or dishes or taking a mismatch and just getting right to his spot underneath the basket. Those are big time plays. And then Tyler, had a lot of plays as well. Particularly when the game slowed down, he's another guy you can just get the ball to, and he'll make some good plays for you.
Just to follow up on Bam in the fourth, they went small, and it seemed like there was a pretty immediate recognition of how small Charlotte was playing and to get the ball to Bam a few times. Even when there was an offensive lull tonight, does it seem like this team just recognizes the advantages on the floor more quickly than other teams? And
yeah, the IQ level of this team is very high. We have experienced, savvy guys, but guys that can read situations in real time. That matters in this league. Kyle, Jimmy, read the game extremely quickly. Bam, as a young player, reads situations quickly. Same thing with PJ. So Bam's advantage with his strength and force was big for us. And it wasn't like we were just throwing the ball to him and everybody getting out of the way. It was in a lot of different ways, which you can't necessarily scheme against. An offensive rebound here, a couple pick and rolls there, a couple mismatches here. I think those were real-time reads that were, tough to adjust to.
Eric, just to elaborate on Bam a little bit, it seemed like the game slows for him now more than it used to, where if he's at the rim, he'll wait out a defender, make sure he gets the dunk, whereas it seemed like before he might flip it up or something like that, but like he's gathering himself.
Yeah.
Has that been a focus that you've had with him?
Yeah, I think a lot of things are true with that. He's really worked at it. This summer, he's really worked on his body too. He wasn't able to do that last year coming out of the finals with his shoulder injury. I think the experience of playing on playoff teams, playing this summer for the USA team, all of this just contributes and adds to his IQ. And I think everything just kind of, the game, slows down for you and you're able to process things, on your terms. And that's, I think, what you're seeing more than anything.
Another tough shooting night for Duncan from 3-point range. What's the approach as a coach? What can you tell? I mean, I'm sure.
What do you end up with? I don't have my glasses.
I think.
Well, that's the problem right
2 for
there.
11.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if he didn't get double digit, I would have been really upset with him. That's the problem. He should have gotten 15 up.
And then Kyle has yet to score in double figures for you, is struggling with the shot. Is there a reason for that? Is it an adjustment? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is a remarkable quarterback play right now. That's really intentional him coming to a new franchise. I think he's really been intentional about getting the ball to guys and allowing them to have opportunities to score. He's really playing pass first, pass second, pass third, right now. And I think that's a beautiful quality of his to be able to come to this situation and allow everybody else to feel comfortable. When that's a tough thing to do. Normally you're trying to find your own comfort zone. But he's thinking about everybody else. And you can see where everybody is really benefited, from that. And I do know that, at some point we're going to need his scoring, and he'll be able to provide that. I know that we'll need, Jimmy's playmaking, as he's done for a couple years for us. And Bam's playmaking, we'll need that at some point. But right now, this is a good rhythm and a good flow, with Kyle playing in this manner. But it's a long season, and things, we'll need all of it, at some point.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra. Right after that, important win against the Charlotte Hornets. The Miami Heat is now 4-1 in the first 5 games of the season. Let's continue with our coverage here, our pregame show with you guys. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Jory, Santo Domingo, and VG, Ovid, Javier Suarez, Nicolas, all of you that are sending messages here in our channel. We're waiting for the Miami Heat to post the starting lineup for tonight. We know already that Bam Adebayo is not going to be playing because of an injury, so he's going to be out tonight, not available. Let's continue listening to some of the press conferences from last night, and then as soon as we have the starting lineup, we will tell you guys who's starting today for the Miami Heat. Actually, we got it right now. Here it is. 35 seconds ago. Dedmon is going to be starting along with PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and Jimmy Butler. So Dwayne Dedmon is the one getting the opportunity to start in Bam Adebayo's place. So it's not going to be Omer Yurtseven. It's going to be Dwayne Dedmon starting in the 5 tonight. Let's continue with some of the press conferences.
Tyler, that second quarter, you've had a bunch of those this season. Is there something you feel ahead of time that it's going to happen? Is there something during one of those runs when you go, yeah, this is going to be good for a while here? What's that feeling like when you get in that groove?
I mean, just coming to play, being locked in, some nights, being able to get to my spots, the couple, I feel like, really that Brooklyn game, I felt like I was getting sped up a little bit, getting rushed. So just came in tonight with the focus to, slow the game down a little bit, be able to get back to my spots and just feel comfortable out there.
Hey, Tyler, can you take us through what those couple minutes of halftime were like in celebrating Bam?
Yeah, just, tremendous being able to watch him, and for me, I was just looking at all the names up there. I think it was Tim, D-Wade, LeBron, and then being able to, see Bam's name up there next to them in the rafters is amazing. It's going to be there forever. So just happy for him. And, I'm sure that's a surreal moment for him to be able to see his name up there, and then, being able to win a gold medal for the city and for himself is amazing.
I should know this, but I don't. Obviously, you had the beat the clock one on opening night. You had the beat the clock one tonight, then the first quarter. I mean, I guess, have you always known like where the clock is and how much time you have, if you have time for one more dribble, one more step in those situations?
Yeah, I think for me, like I think like a dribble a second. So being able to, I think there was 5 or 6 seconds left. Kyle threw it to me, and I took like 3 dribbles. I think I caught it with like 4 on the clock. So just 3 dribbles, and like I said, a dribble a second.
Tyler, when this group came together in training camp, did you get a sense it would be this good defensively from the start? I mean, I know you had guys with pedigree, but it usually doesn't come together where it seems like people are covering for each other. Everybody seems to know where everybody is. I mean, to hold the team that was first in net rate in offensive rating to 99.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Well, like you said, the guys that we went and got, in the offseason are defensive champions, and also, they take real pride in the defensive end. And I think the veteran experience that we have allows us to be this good defensively this quick. And then even the younger guys, like myself and the rest of the young guys that are out there, we have enough experience now to be able to know where to go, know the spots, know the rotations, and with the veterans out there helping us, being able to get us in the right spot. So obviously it's a good start defensively, but I think we can even get better on that end of the ball.
And just kind of piggybacking off of that, I'm sure you knew when you brought in Kyle, like the expectations were going to be high for this team. But seeing your work and Bam's work, that you guys as the young cornerstones really kind of uplift this so early. What does it mean to have that rewarding work pay off so quickly?
Yeah, it's still early, but to see the start that we've gotten off to is good. Obviously we worked tremendously hard this offseason to take that step forward in both of our games. And then just the rest of the teammates that we have, everyone's unselfish. We're all playing for one another. We share the ball, covering for each other defensively, and just have a great group of guys.
Tyler, we all know that Kyle can score. He's done it a lot in his career. He has yet to score 10 points as a member of the Heat, but Coach was just in here talking about how he's really made a point to get everyone else involved, and one day he'll come around with his offense. What's it like to have a guy like that? And do you notice it from him that maybe where he could step in, he's sort of getting off the ball instead?
Yeah, I think he's had enough experience to, if he wants to get 20, he can get 20 in any game, really. So I think it's just, like I said, being this group has a bunch of guys who are unselfish, and I think that starts with Kyle. It's kind of contagious. Ever since the first day of training camp, it's been that way. So he's the one that's kind of spreading the unselfishness.
So I want to go back to Tim's question about the buzzer beaters. Because of your rotation patterns, you're in at the end of quarters. I saw you kind of warming up, kind of crossing half court, stop, pop the shot, and everything like that. Is there sort of an expectation that your teammates sort of look for you in those final 4 or 5 seconds? Are you kind of the designated guy to take those shots at this point?
I don't think I'm the designated guy. I think we have a bunch of guys that are able to make them tough shots at the end of quarters, or Jimmy and Kyle, Bam. Everyone can take shots at the end of the quarters, but I feel comfortable being the guy to take those shots. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a question via Zoom from Mateo Mayorga.
Hello, Tyler. The Heat have recovered at least 60 rebounds in each of their past 2 games, and last year they were 29th in that category. Is it fair to say that the Heat are now a dominant team attacking the glass this year?
That's for you guys to decide if you guys think we're dominant rebounding the ball. I don't know.
All right, Tyler, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, that was Tyler Herro. For all of you that are just getting here, let me take this out of here. All right, for all of you that are just getting here, Bam Adebayo is not going to be playing today at all. Dwayne Dedmon is going to take his spot at the starting lineup. So it's going to be Dwayne Dedmon, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, and Kyle Lowry. That's going to be the starting 5 for the Miami Heat. Let's continue. We have two more videos, and then we'll be getting ready for the game. Let's continue with the third one of the night, and here we go. Enjoy. And this is the
tell my dog good night and my mom that I love her. So fire away. Let's go.
Well, you just told your mom,
huh?
I'm sure your mom's watching or listening.
No. She seen me at halftime. That ain't. My mom has a higher standard. Y'all got to tell her good night.
I know she does, of course. Halftime. You have talked about what that moment would feel like for months. When it became real, even though you only had 2.5 minutes out there, what were the things sort of going through your mind in those moments?
Forever in history. That's how I thought about it. Every game. What am I, year 5 now? Every game from now on in my career, I can always look up and see my name in the Raptors. That's motivation, obviously, to get my name in the Raptors again. So every time, that's a motivational stamp.
Oh, obviously you're still winning, but at the same time, you're having an off shooting night. Not you as a team, but as a team. Is there any concern internally about the struggles from the 3-point line? And what have you noticed as to why that shooting might be a little bit off to start the season?
We've been missing wide open shots, so I'm not too worried about it. We do need threes, though. We can't always beat teams with twos, especially teams that are like really generate off of threes. So it's the beginning of the season, and guys are getting great looks, and I just want them to keep being aggressive, keep taking those shots, because at the end of the day, we're gonna need them. See, that's my mama. Y'all playing.
Bam, all the work that you put in the offseason for the muscle that you put on, you've always been a physical player, but I mean, is there a way to describe how much more physically, I guess, dominant you feel maybe on the court this year?
I got my body back, man. That's the biggest difference. I came into the season last year 245. Not being able to lift during the off season really hurt me. Obviously being able to defend, move guys around, but this year I got in the gym, got to really put some weight on, and it was good to be back.
You have a guy like Kyle who comes in here. He's been a scorer his whole career, and he's really putting that on the side and getting everyone else going. What does that say about him that he has yet to score in double figures this season, and yet every game he has played and you've won?
He's taking all my assists, Ira.
Gotta give up something, my friend. Everyone's rebounds.
Am I? 'Cause a lot of my rebounds don't be in traffic.
But what does it mean that Kyle's playing that way so selflessly?
It's just great for our team, man. The fact that he's willing to pitch ahead, and give up scoring for me, Jimmy, Tyler, Duncan, and trying to get other guys involved. As you can see, he's making it work, and he's finding his pace where he can score. I feel like he's gonna start getting a rhythm where you're gonna start to see Cal start to pick it up. It's the beginning of the season. He's trying to, fill the team out and pick his spots.
Bam, well, you talk about the increased strength, but also sort of being in your 5th year and increasing your IQ overall for the game. Is that why it seemed tonight like you took your time a lot, make sure you got the dunk, sort of waited for a guy to commit? I just remember going back like 2-3 years ago when some of those you might flip it up right away or something, but it seemed like that's been a change. Has that been a progression for you?
Yeah, for sure. Big guys, when they get a rebound or they're in the paint, a lot of coaches tell you, go up quick. And when D-Wade got here, going into my 2nd year, and people started blitzing him, and I would catch him in the pocket. And he would always tell me, be patient. Take your time. Rim's not going anywhere. And I've carried that the rest of my career, and as you can see, I've built off that, and that was a great lesson for me. Shout out D-Wade.
All right, Bam, thank you.
Black Lives Matter, people.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo. He's not going to be available tonight. Dwayne Dedmon is going to be taking his spot in the starting lineup for tonight's game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Thank you, guys. The game has not started yet. It's supposed to be starting around 8 p.m. So in about 12 to 15 minutes, we should be getting going with that game. So let's continue with the last video we're going to play for you guys today, and then we will get ready for the next game. And talking about Bam Adebayo, before I played the last video, some of you were asking, I said injury. Well, his knee, he has some issues with his knee. The team didn't give any more details. So that's why I said injury, for all of you that are just, or that heard me saying that. That's the injury update that the Miami Heat put out. Bam Adebayo, knee, will be active for tonight's game versus the Grizzlies. So let's continue. last video of the night, and then we will get ready for the game.
Hey, Jimmy, after the game, Eric was talking about sort of the collective IQ of this team, which is something he used to say about the championship teams here several years ago. Do you just feel like guys are going to make the right play, make the right read, cover up for each other on defense? Are you at that point now, even 5 games into the season, where there's a confidence that that's going to be happening?
Yes, without a doubt. I think that we have the utmost confidence in one another to just play basketball the right way, knowing you can make the extra pass. If you get beat, somebody's going to be there. Yeah, we have glitches and we mess up at times, but nobody's doing it on purpose. We all want to help each other be great. We all want to help each other stick to our strengths and away from our weaknesses. So, 5 games in, I think it's a small sample size, but I think we're only going to get better at it.
With that said, just to see it coming out right out of the gate, the chemistry, the results and all that coming out this early, just how much does that help you moving forward, seeing it right out of the gate?
This game, it's all about confidence. I think everybody's confident on both sides of the ball. We're guarding at an extremely high level. Everybody's taking and making the shots that they know that they can't make. We realize you can't get too high, you can't stay too low. We're trying to stay right there in the middle. So we do that, we'll be right.
You guys have a really hardworking group, but a lot's been made of the physical gains that Tyler and Bam's talked about it too. What have you thought about how they've kind of lifted their games coming into the season, maybe with having a real offseason to really develop physically?
Yeah, I like physical basketball. I like bully ball. I think we got a lot of guys on the team that thrive in that. But we got some guys that can really put the ball in the basket at a high level. And when you're scoring like that, you got shooting like that, makes everybody's job a lot easier. Bam and Tyler are just 2 of many on our team.
Jimmy, we all know that Kyle can score, but he hasn't even scored in double figures yet. Do you see that as a new guy coming in, wanting to get comfortable with everyone else and then getting his? Or are you a little surprised because he's been a really good scorer throughout his career?
He doesn't really care to score the ball. He just wants to win. When you got a guy like that, he realizes that his opportunities are going to come. He's going to be able to score the ball. He can score the ball at will. But he just takes what the game gives him, and it calls for different things night in and night out. He's thriving in his role right now, and he's a huge reason to why we're winning.
Jimmy, just want to get your thoughts on the halftime ceremony for Bam, with the banner going up in the rafters.
I'm a hater, man. I don't think you want to ask me that. I am a hater, so I'm gonna just leave it at that.
We were talking about like some of the vets on the team and everything like that, and obviously you guys have talked a lot about like the atmosphere in practice, but what's it like in a film room when you have that many guys who have seen so many things? You mentioned like some of the glitches you have on defense. How are those things addressed? What are the conversations like?
I don't think you really got to say too much because we already know whenever the clip is up there on the TV. But we talk about it. We move on from it fairly quickly because we all just want to win. We all want to be better, and we all want to help each other out. But it definitely helps to have a lot of champions on the team that know what it takes to win it. And we're learning. I'm learning. Everybody is from those guys every single day. Yeah, I played with some pretty smart players before. I think Duncan's like the dumbest one out of all of them. But no, we've had some smart guys. I've been around some really, Hall of Famers, really great players. But definitely helps whenever you got guys that are extremely smart and know the game. Except for Duncan, he's dumb.
All right, Jimmy, thank you.
Peace.
All right, that was Jimmy Butler making fun of Duncan Robinson there at the end after last night's game when they beat the Charlotte Hornets. For all of you that are just that are asking about Bam Adebayo and his injury, we don't have any more information about it, and we don't know if it's an actual injury or if they're just being careful with him. But he should be available for the Tuesday game when they face the Dallas Mavericks. Tuesday game at 7:30 p.m. He should be available for that game. That's according to our sources in 5 Reasons. But we're waiting for whatever the Miami Heat actually says about this particular situation with Bam Adebayo. So thank you very much for joining us in today's pregame show. We will be back with you during halftime, we're gonna be doing our pace and spaces on Twitter Space or Twitter Spaces. So if you are watching the game, you want a quick halftime show, go ahead and go to Twitter and listen to our guys, Twisted Tapioca, Sean Rochester, Anthony, Tony there. It's gonna be fun, and they give you. I mean, Greg sometimes jumps in, Ethan, Alex, whoever's around there. It's gonna be doing the halftime show. So thank you very much. Go and grab a Biscayne beer, Biscayne Bay beer, Biscayne Bay Brewing beer, and go enjoy it. And we'll see you later tonight. Thank you. Have a good night. And again, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and we'll be here soon for with more content about the Miami Heat. Have a good night. Enjoy the game, and see you soon.